Let's look ahead to Sunday's Africa Cup of Nations final. It's going to be between the hosts Ivory Coast and Nigeria after two very different semi-finals last night. Super Eagles were pushed all the way to penalties by South Africa, while Ivory Coast's Elephants, they had a fairly straightforward win for once. That was over DR Congo. Let's head live to Abidjan, speak to our football reporter, John Bennett. There you go, John. We told you we'd get you to the top of the bill. What was it like last night after that Ivory Coast win, which after their route to the final was very, very drama-free almost?
Yeah, none of the luck, none of the drama, none of the miracles that Ivory Coast have had in the previous rounds. It's been a roller coaster for them, hasn't it? Yeah, it was an amazing experience, Ollie, because I'm here in the centre of Abidjan. The game took place at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium, which is about 11 miles away. So the drive back into the city was something else. There were parties breaking out on the sides of the road, brilliant atmosphere, everyone beeping their horns, people flooding into the streets. I think the head coach of Ivory Coast, the interim head coach, remember, because they actually sacked a manager during this tournament, which is remarkable. He summed up everyone's feelings because he said they are living a dream being in this final of the Africa Cup of Nations after everything they've gone through. And one player who sums that up is the scorer of the winning goal. Sebastien Haller used to play in the Premier League for West Ham. What a story he has had. Remember, this is a player who's recovered from testicular cancer. He suffered from cancer in 2022, he's recovered, and now he is close to being the hero at this Africa Cup of Nations. He's the face on all the billboards here in Abidjan. He's the big icon of Ivorian football at the moment, and he scored the winning goal to put them into the final. It's a great story, and the Ivory Coast fans are just loving this journey.
Yeah, they're into the final. Nigeria, they've won it 3 times, once more than Ivory Coast. They've been in the final. This will be their 8th time in the final, something like that. Would you make them slight favourites, John?
I can see, Ollie, why people would argue that they're favourites, because they've already played Ivory Coast in this tournament and they won 1-0. William Troost-Ekong with the only goal from the penalty spot, and he was on the score sheet as well in the semi-final, again from the penalty spot. Also, they've got African Footballer of the Year, Victor Osimhen, up front, who isn't scoring many goals. He's only got 1 so far in this tournament, but he's been superb. His pressing, his work rate. And Nigeria defensively have been excellent as well. They've only conceded 1 goal from open play during the tournament. But for me, I think Ivory Coast just about have the edge because they have home advantage and they have 2 players returning from injury who are finding form. I mentioned Sebastien Haller up front, who's their focal point, but the other player, their X-factor player, is Brighton's Simon Adingra. He also came into the tournament with an injury. It was his first start in the semi-final against DR Congo, and he was a big reason as to why they played so well. So Brighton's Simon Adingra could be, I think, the player who makes the difference in the final.
That's why he was in my fantasy league. Yeah, I've missed him. Many thanks indeed, John Bennett.